morning, afternoon, good evening. This is a little video on how to use Google to create mean, mode, median, standard deviation, and something called standard error of the mean. And this will also show you how to create bar graphs with error bars. Okay, so let's begin. So what we'll do is we're just going to zoom in here so you can kind of see. I have a sample data set between the numbers of 15 here and 93, and I've written in here mean, mode, median, and standard deviation. At any point you can always pause the video and or look for the equations. So we know the mean is mathematically the average, so you hit equal average, and then select the range you wish. In this case, it's going to be A1 to A15. So the average of this data set is 22. The mode, equal sign, MODE, remember the equal sign is telling it that it's going to do a math problem. And again, it's going to be A1 colon to A15. You can also just use your scroll. Oh, I get a number error. That means there is no mode. There is no repeated number. To do median, equal median, the range of values, equal enter, and then finally standard deviation. Now when you do standard deviation, you're going to notice there's a long list of standard deviation equations, all with different purposes. For us as a class, we'll just deal with the basic standard deviation. It's going to ask what that is. And so the standard deviation here of these numbers is 16. The next one I want to do is called the standard error of measurement. Okay. So the standard error of measurement is basically accounting for the number of samples or trials that you have done. So here I will go equal sign. And then I'm going to take the number above, which is the standard deviation. So in this case, I can say whatever number is in that box, divide by SQRT. That's the square root of the number of samples. So in this case, I have 1 to 15, so I have 15 values here. And I hit equal. So in this case, I'm going to reduce the numbers to 4.1, and now I'm ready to set up a graph. Okay, so now what we're going to do is you've calculated the average or the mean, the standard deviation, and or the standard error of measurement, and you'd like to create a graph showing the error bars to demonstrate if there's a significant difference between the values. So to do this, you will have to use Google, but it won't be very intuitive. It's not a very simple process, but it works. So you highlight just the first independent variable I have here. So in this case, I have cold, hot, and salt, and then I have a series of values. So I'm just going to highlight just those two boxes, come here to insert, go to chart, and I get a single column bar. Now, I'm going to come all the way over here, and I'm going to add a series. I click the little square, and it says what range, and now I select the next one. Now I'm going to do hot and that value. I say okay, and now this is the key. As long as you see two different colors, then you know you've set up this graph for error bars correctly. I come over here to add a series, and I'm going to do the third variable. Oops, did not like that, did it? Let's go back to the three dots at the top for edit. Edit the chart, click the series, click the square, click here, and now I have three colors. I come over here now, and I'm ready to set up the error bars. So I'm just going to move the graph just a little bit over here. And I come to customize, I come to series, I come to error bar, And now I come back up here where it says apply to all series. You're going to see cold, hot, and salt. I stick with cold first. I come down to the error bars. It's already checked. I want to change it from percent to constant. And now I can set that value to whatever the calculated value is. So in this case, we're going to say it's 19. And you'll notice now there's this error bar that extends from the average up 19 and from the average down 19. That's a single standard deviation. When I'm ready to do the next series, I'll change it to hot, and I change it from percent to constant, and I have 15. I come back up here, I do salt, and this one is 19. And I change it from percent to constant. So now you end up with a graph with these error bars. Now, unfortunately, the graph is not correctly labeled. So to label your axes, you'll need to come back to customize. For chart title, you'll have to put a title. For horizontal axis, you'll have to put a title. For vertical, you'll want to put a title. And that should now, and then you can correct those at any point. So now once you have that, and you have the colors associated with the labels, you can interpret your graph. So in this case, because the error bars are overlapping, that is, this range overlaps with this range, even though it appears to be a difference in the means, our data shows there is no statistical difference between these three measurements. So our technique, or what we were measuring, we would then say we find no significant difference. In a sense, the times to ice water or hot water, ice or salt to melt were the same.